Here we see the solo technique being performed by an elite player. Note the position of the head, hands and feet. Now let's look at each of the key teaching points for the solo. Hold the ball firmly with both hands. Keep the torso upright. Release the ball into the hand at the kicking side. Head down, eyes on the ball. Step forward with the non-kicking foot. Extend the wrist and drop the ball onto the kicking foot. When the foot impacts the ball, flick the toe upwards towards the body. Straighten the leg. Extend the arms forward to catch the ball. This is a basic to practice the solo technique. Give each player a ball. Ensure each player has adequate space to perform the technique in a stationary position. On the whistle, the players solo the ball on the spot. The players count how many times they can solo the ball successfully in 30 seconds. The players must start again if the ball is dropped or if the ball goes above the head. Set a target for each player depending on ability. Players repeat the drill using the opposite leg. This drill can be organised in pairs, with the partners counting for each other as the other performs the technique. This is a basic drill to practice the solo technique. Divide the group into pairs, 1 ball per pair. The partners face each other approximately 4 meters apart. The player in possession solos the ball and fist passes to their partner, who repeats the drill. The players must use the opposite leg each time. Continue the drill for a set time. This is an intermediate drill to practice the solo technique. Mark out a distance of 10 meters using cones. Divide the players into groups of 5, 1 ball per group. The players line up behind one of the cones. The first player solos out and around the far cone. On the way back, players fist pass for the next player. Each player in turn repeats the drill and returns to the back of the line. Continue the drill for a set time. Repeat the drill and get the players to use the opposite foot. This intermediate drill to practice the solo technique requires the players to solo around a series of obstacles. Mark out a distance of 12 meters using cones. Place 4 poles or more cones at equal intervals between the outer cones. Alternatively, 4 of the players may act as the obstacles. The players line up behind the first cones. Each player, in turn, solos the ball in and out between the poles or their teammates. When soloing to the left, the players should use their left leg, and when soloing to the right, the players should use their right leg. This is an intermediate to practice the solo technique. Mark out a grid using cones as shown. Place a further cone in the center of the grid. Divide the players into groups of 3, 1 ball per group. The first player in each group solos with the ball in an anti-clockwise direction around the next cone, then the center cone and back to their corner. Each player in turn repeats the drill. The players must be aware of each other's movements as they round the centre cone. This is a fun game to develop the solo technique. Mark out a grid 15 metres by 15 metres. One player with the ball must solo around and attempt to tag the other players. The player must solo at least once every 4 steps. Once a player has been tagged, they must leave the game. Change the player with the ball when all the players have been tagged. This is a fun game to develop the solo technique. Mark out a grid 15 metres by 15 metres. 6 players attempt to solo across the grid. 2 players act as defenders and attempt to tag the soloing players. Once a player has been tagged, they must leave the game. The soloing players continue over and back until all have been tagged. Rotate the defenders and repeat the game. This is a modified game to develop the solo technique. Divide the players into 2 equal teams. The game begins with a punt kick from one team down the field to the other team. The receiving team must then solo and hand pass the ball up the field. A score is awarded only when a player solos the ball through the opposition goals. Having scored or lost the ball in the tackle, the team return to the end line and punt kick the ball for the second team to attempt a score. To reduce the difficulty of the game for the attacking team, reduce the number of defenders for each play. Dropping the ball with both hands or dropping the ball to the foot with the wrong hand is a common error when learning the solo technique. This may lead to difficulty keeping control of the ball, particularly when attempting to solo at speed. To correct this error, ensure that the player drops the ball towards the kicking leg with the hand at the same side, that is, with the right hand when using the right leg and vice versa. Not using a straight leg to flick the ball upwards towards the body is another common error and may result in the player failing to control the ball. To correct this error, ensure the player kicks the ball at the end of the stride, flicking the toe upwards to bring the ball back into the body. The most common error of all when performing the solo technique is soloing the ball too high. To correct this error, ensure the ball is cushioned back by flicking the toe upward on impact.